Hey, Cowboy, how are you?
How are you?
Oh, great to see you.
Come this way.
Thank you for being on Chinatown
No
Gang
problem.
Stories. Let's see where we're going to do the interview.
We'll pick one of these rooms here. Okay?
All right. Great, wonderful. Welcome to Chinatown Gang Stories. Today I have a special guest. He's known in the streets back in the 70s as Cowboy. He was under the regime of the Flying Dragons, and we have a full-blown bona fide member of the Flying Dragons from Pell Street here who was under the scientists, and then after the scientists got gunned down, he was under a second regime, Onion Head, and he was also one of the street bosses of the Flying Dragon. He's a very valuable asset to this channel because this channel focuses on New York City Chinatown gangs, and we have the BTK, we have Grand Street Flying Dragons, we have Ghost Shadows, we have Dongwon, and now we have a member of the Pell Street Flying Dragons. Okay, so I'd like to turn it over to you. Cowboy, you're known now as CB.
Yes.
Cowboy is in your past.
Yes.
You're talking about almost 40 years ago. You came out from prison, and you go by the name CB.
Yes.
Right? And you put that Cowboy.
Yes, I try to
you.
put it to sleep because Cowboy has too much baggage.
Too much baggage.
Yes, so I shortened it to CB. Right, so
Welcome to the channel.
Thank you. So that itself answers a lot of questions why people in Flushing, and a lot of people in Flushing know me as CB. Why? So before I go on, I like to make a statement to all my peoples, right? Because they're scratching their head and wondering why, what the fuck am I doing this for? Coming out here, making everything so public. Well, the reason is, right, for starters, right, been so many years people have been talking about FDs and stuff, and some of it is really off base. So if everybody's going to talk about us, let me talk about us and set the record straight. Secondly, I'm mainly going to be talking about myself and my escapades. There'll be nobody's going to be implicated or indicted because of what I talk about, right? And finally, a lot of this stuff is public record, like as Michael said. It's been 40 years. You know what I mean? So listen, you got mafiosos on TikTok.
Yeah, let's see.
You know what I mean? I'm pushing 60.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff is behind me already.
Share some of the
You know
stories
what I mean?
and put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Okay.
And,
some things, I'm going to say some things, if it's too sensitive, I'm going to pass over. Okay? All right? So just going to take it from here.
Yeah, let's start off with the beginning. Talk about your childhood, how you came to this country, and where did you come from? Was it mainland China, Hong Kong, and what got you involved with the gangs?
Oh, this is going to be a long interview.
Well,
I was born in Hong Kong. I came to this country when I was 6 years old. And of all places, my parents, they lived in Grand Concourse, Fordham Road. For you guys that been in the city, you know what that is. That's the Bronx, the boogie down. That's my first training experience. The reason I say that is because if you look at the school yearbook, you're going to see a bunch of brown faces, white faces, black faces, and there's one yellow face, which was me. And that whole freaking fucking neighborhood, whatever. I was the only Asian, Chinese, whatever there. This was like what? 1970, 71? And I remember going to school was an exercise in survival. Because, listen, 9-10-year-old kids, they're the meanest. Every day I'm going to school. Ching chang, ching chang. I'm walking here with my little backpack, and I see a group of kids. I walk the other street, cross the street, avoid them, but it never works. So from there, I remember, even as a kid, when I was in kindergarten, first grade, I remember getting fights with a bunch of kids. And usually it's me against 5-6 of them. So that's where my first training experience, conditioning came from, right? Living in the Bronx, getting my ass kicked as a kid. So from there, Eventually, my parents moved to Chinatown. By then, I believe I was in the 3rd grade. In Chinatown, believe it or not, I didn't get involved with the gangs yet, because that time, what, 3rd grade, how old am I? 8, 9? But every day, there was this fun motherfucking kid that came around picking on people, bullying people, and taking my lunch money, which I really didn't have. I had to steal the money from my parents for him to take it from me. Fuck. You know what I mean? So that went on up until for a few years, believe it or not.
Being that you're in Chinatown, was that another Asian kid who was stealing your lunch money?
Not stealing, extorting me.
Extorting your lunch
Yeah,
money?
he would come around lunchtime, extorting not just me, but everybody.
Okay.
It's your stereotypical bully coming around. Eventually, anyway, he would say he was from the Ghost Shadows. But later on, when I came out, I found that he wasn't really a full-fledged member. Just a schmuck going around taking little kids' money, right? So anyway, from there, I had a negative image of the GS, the Ghost Shadows, because it's taking my lunch money. You know what I mean? I remember one time I cut school, and me and this other kid, and then we got confronted by 3 fucking GS members, okay? The twins, Howard and Jack and Jeffrey, right? Now, once again, that little punk kid was with them, and I was about to buy. Listen, I'll be honest, I was stealing money from my mother's drawer for like about 2 months to save enough money to buy a pair of Superstar Adidas. That was the shit back then in the days. And he just came and took it from me. Once again, they gave me a very negative image of the Ghost Shadows, right? So when during my time in Chinatown, during that time, I had this negative image of the Ghost Shadows. They tried to recruit me. One time they actually beat me up, but I still would not join. Fast forward, my parents took me out of Chinatown. By then, that was like what, 7th grade, 6, not yet 7, and they moved me back to fucking, of all places, close to Jamaica, Hollis. I went from 7th grade and 9th grade in a black neighborhood again, because they thought I was in the gang, which I wasn't, believe it or not. But from there, when I actually did meet up with the Flying Dragons, I was in Queens Vocational High School. Now, back in the days, right, certain high schools had gang affiliations, meaning they were gang members, like Newtown, Queens Vocational, Aviation, Seward Park, all the schools, you have gang members in there. You know what I mean? So it happens that in Queens Vocational, that was the Queens branch. There was a faction of the Flying Dragons in there. And was there when I was going to school in Queens Vocational that I was, in Chinese we call it Beipun, meaning it's normal back in the days. You know, when you're a gangster, Chinese gangster, when you see other young kids, you will go up to them and you ask them, you ask them, where you from? Right? The purpose of that is, one, it instills fear, it spreads the brand name, and at the same time, it could end up as a recruitment process. Because the Flying Dragons, under the scientist leadership, was very picky who they allowed to join. They don't just allow anyone. You have to go through a filtering process. He looks for the right profile person to be a member. It's for this reason that my generation and so forth, we were so committed to what we believe in.
That's what year was that you're talking about?
I actually joined them in 1979, right? But the scientist, Ga, right? He thought this out. I mean, later on in my life, as I got older, I could look back, especially my time when I was in prison, did nothing but think, right? He had his whole profiling program of picking out people, did they fit the mold to be a member. To be a member of the Flying Dragon back then, you don't just say, I want to know. You could come in and just like, I think, like the motorcycle gangs, you're on a probation period where they watch you, how you behave, how you act. They don't want assholes, they don't want troublemakers, and they don't want people that want to look like pretty boys. They just want people that's easily committed to their cause. And it's like profiling. I guess just like in any organization nowadays, they profile people, right? So it happens so that a lot of my fellow members at that time were picked on when we were young. And also we were only sons. So all this came to play in effect of our psychological psyche. Because later on through the training periods, what I would say is this: when looking back when I was a teenager, it was every day. While it was, how should I put it? It was fulfilling from a brotherhood point of view, but they were ultra violent. Because we were taught to be ultra violent, ultra violent. It's like this: imagine 15, 16-year-olds raging testosterone, but we were discouraged to have girlfriends. See, we weren't allowed even to go out to play or whatever. Everything we did was for the glory of the Flying Dragons. Everything. Even when we went to parties as a kid, we didn't go there to dance or play. We went there to make our presence known. And we went there to look for fucking other gangs that we were at war with. That's how we were. We actually seek them down. And that was the kind of lifestyle we all led at that time in Chinatown. That's why Chinatown during those days in the early 80s, they were shooting every day.
I won my battle, I bitches battling my shadow. I shot my arrow, it's time to think it over, I had to. I touched that ladder, it didn't really fucking like matter. I watched them gather, cause 92 is when it all shattered. Born and bred, BK, one door, get paid, move work, catch phase. What more can I say? Be first in battle, trust me. Life matters, raised up, no father, more like a Chinatown guy, go shadow. I won my battle, and bitches battling my shadow. I shot my arrow, it's time to think it over, I had to. I touched that ladder, it didn't really fucking like matter. I watched them gather, cause 92 is when it all shattered.